Veganism is becoming an increasingly popular trend. More and more people are starting to adopt plant-based diets. A lot of people stop eating meat, and many of them even stop using animal products altogether. And there are a lot of reasons for this. There are a lot of arguments against eating meat and using animal products. And one of the most common arguments is that it's morally wrong. By eating meat and consuming animal products in general, you are supporting the enslavement, torture, and killing of animals. And this is considered to be morally wrong. It's morally wrong to kill an animal simply because you like the taste of its flesh. Not only is this one of the most common arguments against eating meat, but it also seems to be very compelling. There are vegan activists on YouTube that post videos where they go around debating meat eaters, trying to convert them to veganism. A common question that they ask is, how can you morally justify killing an animal? They say things like, are your taste buds worth more than the life of an animal? And when faced with these questions, a lot of people don't know what to say. Many of them admit that they can't justify killing an animal. They can't morally justify eating meat. Eating meat and killing animals is simply wrong, period. Now, although I sympathize with the activists and generally support the vegan movement, I just don't think that it's that clear that killing an animal is morally wrong. So in this video, I'm going to play the devil's advocate, and I'm going to explain how killing an animal can be morally justified. Okay, so the question is, how can you morally justify killing an animal? Before answering this question, we need to establish a clear definition of morality. Morality has to do with what's right and wrong, good and bad. And there are a lot of different moral philosophies out there. And we've debated these questions for thousands of years, and we still can't seem to agree on what's right and wrong. However, to answer the question, we need to establish a definition of morality. And in this video, I'm going to assume the perspective of ethical egoism. Ethical egoism is the ethical position that people should do what's in their self-interest. What's morally right and wrong, good and bad, has to do with what benefits the individual. Actions whose consequences will benefit the individual can therefore be seen as ethical and morally justifiable. Well, from this perspective, it seems to be very easy to morally justify killing an animal for its flesh. I mean, when we kill the animal, we do it to satisfy our needs or wants. We eat the meat because it fills us up. It provides us with nutrients and it tastes good. So when we eat meat, we're acting in our own self-interest. Therefore, from the ethical egoism point of view, nothing can be more right. Right? Well, that doesn't seem right. Because if that were the case, then why are vegans arguing that it's morally wrong to eat meat and kill animals? What is the problem here? What is the moral dilemma? The way I see it, the main reason that killing an animal is considered to be wrong is because we sympathize with them. We feel bad for them. And this is precisely the reason why vegans argue that it's wrong to eat meat. Because they associate meat eating with the suffering the animals have to go through. And this makes them feel bad. Because eating meat would make them feel bad, doing so is not in their self-interest. Therefore, to vegans who feel bad when eating meat, it is morally wrong to do so. However, not everyone feels the same way about eating meat or using animal products. Not everyone has the same associations to these things. Meat eaters in general do not feel bad about eating meat. They do not suffer any direct negative consequences as a result of this action. To them, eating meat is associated with positive things rather than negative things, and as such, it is in their self-interest to eat meat. Therefore, from the perspective of ethical egoism, eating meat and killing animals can be ethical. It can be morally justifiable. Now in this video, I have established that morality is relative. It is not objective. but based on the subjective experience of each and every one of us. And therefore, it can vary from person to person. Everyone has their own sense of what's right and wrong. What's morally wrong to someone may be completely ethical to someone else. And that is why I don't think it's clear that eating meat and killing animals is morally wrong. Now, in my argument, I have assumed the perspective of ethical egoism. And if this perspective does not make sense to you, then my argument does not hold. And I can argue for why I think it makes sense, but I think that's the topic for another video. In this video, I simply wanted to demonstrate how killing animals can be morally justified. And I think I have. Now, this is just my perspective. If it resonates with you, then feel free to incorporate these ideas into your own perspective. And if it does not, then you're more than welcome to point out to me what you don't agree with. Which are the assumptions that you don't share with me? Either way, I encourage you to engage in this discussion so that we can develop our understanding of the world together. So until next time, always be thinking.